Welcome to the Magdalene Feast Day portal. Whether you're joining us live or arriving in your own divine timing, this transmission is a living portal, a remembrance encoded in your heart and soul. Mary Magdalene's Feast Day is more than a commemoration in time. It's an invitation to return to who you truly are, to the wellspring of unconditional divine love that heals, awakens, and restores. Mary Magdalene is many things: Yeshua's beloved, priestess, teacher, healer, and embodiment of Sophia Christ consciousness. She also holds the Magdalene frequency, a living stream of fierce grace and embodied love, guiding us into deeper remembrance of our divinity. This is a sacred space of homecoming, a temple of truth, a transmission of embodied love and inner union. May your heart open, your sovereignty rise, and the holy flame within you bloom fully into life. Welcome to this sacred space. So over the past 5 days, we've been doing a lot. I want to review a little bit about this. So just in case you haven't seen any of these videos, you'll know a little bit more about what is there. And all of the videos are on YouTube, and they'll be on YouTube indefinitely, so you can watch them at your heart's content and review them as much as you want. So in day 1, we went into the descent, where we embraced the shadow as a sacred threshold. In day 2, we stepped more into reclaiming power and took steps into our rising sovereignty. In day 3, we embodied presence and really took steps in awakening the body as a vessel of divine embodiment. And in day 4, we went deeper into the inner union of the masculine, the feminine, the light and the dark, the higher self and the ego, as well as, and ultimately, the divine and our humanity. And in day 5, we took steps in deeper into our radiant visibility, where we reclaimed our voice and our power. And today, all of these threads weave together as we step deeper into this Magdalene Feast Day activation. So I know many of you already know who I am. You have a sense of who I am, but I also sense that some of you are new. So I want to take just a quick moment to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Melissa Sophia Joy. I'm the founder of Sophia Healing Academy, and with the guidance and support of Mary Magdalene, also Somatic Awakening, which is a really powerful spiritual healing, somatic healing modality, as well as spiritual practice. I'm also a naturopathic doctor, a mind, body, spirit specialist, as well as an oracle and a priestess in the Magdalene Sophia tradition. And as a priestess of this lineage, one thing I know for certain is that Mary Magdalene is not just a distant figure of history. She's a living presence. She is a guide, a sister, a midwife of healing and awakening. And she's really a living frequency, that current that I talked about a moment ago of this Magdalene frequency. And her soul tone is calling so many of us now to remember who we really are, to remember the divine love that is always loving us, that is always coming, calling us home. And she's also asking us to remember what came before us. What has been suppressed and forgotten? What needs healing now so that we are free? Her energy is awakening inside of us a deep knowing that the way of love and the way of oneness is the divine frequency that actually calls us back home. So this divine feminine power that is here for all of us, male and female alike, that has been suppressed and is now rising, is showing us more and more and more what has been suppressed and what is available to us. And especially in this lineage, we make contact more and more with who I call Divine Mother Sophia. You can also call her Sophia or Holy Spirit. In the Greek tradition, she is the goddess of wisdom, but she's actually so much more. She just got catapulted in this little box called the goddess of wisdom, but actually she is Divine Mother. And the experience of Divine Mother. The word that we use to define that is Shekinah or Shekinah, depending on what tradition you are leaning into. And this is really the indwelling within us of the Shakti, or we can call it the energy of the divine feminine. So Mary Magdalene helps us come more into contact with this. And she also shares multiple other teachings connected to mystical Christianity, and many of which are interwoven into this modality, this healing practice, this spiritual practice that she taught me, Somatic Awakening, because it has this powerful ability to connect with the divine flowing into us, to heal and powerfully awaken who we really are, so that we may then awaken and embody the divinity within us. So the Magdalene frequency carries this embodied Christ-Sophia stream, this lineage that is both devotional and fierce, as well as tender and sovereign. She offers us teachings and transmissions on what it really means to walk this embodied path of Christ-Sophia, as well as to awaken this divine blueprint within us. So let's take a moment to really talk about what I mean by this embodiment path of Christ-Sophia consciousness. So this path, in essence, what I want to start with is that this path, we are bringing heaven here, our experience of heaven in here. So heaven is not some distant reward or far off realm, even though there's an aspect of that that's very true as well. But really what we're doing is that we're bringing it into our lived human experience. So it's living with us within the rhythm of our breath and our daily life. It's even living in the tenderness beneath the ache of our somatic contractions of trauma. And even in the holy intimacy, especially in the holy intimacy and transformation of what happens when the divine meets that ache and the transformation that happens. It lives within the divine flame of presence deep within our soul that has never, ever been not there. And so to walk this path of Christ-Sophia embodiment is not to escape from the world, but really what it's calling us is to consecrate ourselves in this process within the world from our holy presence as we remember more and more of this holy presence that we are. It's a living into the radiant example of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, not through imitation, but through intimate remembering. It is a path where heaven meets earth within us, where divine love is no longer a concept, but a lived experience, where wisdom, peace, and divine presence are embodied within us. And this is what we're living and experiencing. Now, one of the most profound ways I know of living this path of Christ-Sophia embodiment is through this spiritual practice taught to me by Mary Magdalene, Somatic Awakening. And in the practice, which is an aspect of Somatic Awakening, with the specific aspect that Mary Magdalene taught me, what we do is we turn toward the temple of the body, not to transcend it, but to listen to the places inside of us that most need love, that most need support, that are holding the energy and emotion of trauma within our body. And we bring this unconditional and eternal love from our own holy higher self and the divine down and into these often hidden places we've learned to avoid. And we come into direct contact with them, with the contraction of trauma, the knot, the internal ache, not as obstacles to our divinities, but actually as veils that have hidden our divinity. And when we meet them with this holy presence of the divine, they begin to truly be seen, to soften, and revealing the gold within. And I know many of you who are here, if you are an advanced student, you know what I'm talking about. And I also have walked this path. And so I want to tell you a little story. Actually, it's a really big story of my awakening, where I came into direct contact with this. So several years ago, I was going through a very profound inner upheaval, and I was guided to go to a meditation retreat. But I showed up at the meditation retreat carrying with me a huge weight that felt like relentless waves of ancient past life trauma. Fortunately, I was very connected to Magdalene, to Yeshua, to Mother Mary, and they continued to show up on my inner realms in meditation. And they took me through even deeper levels of turning toward, really initiating me to turn toward the pain rather than away from it. And was here that I really fully discovered the power of my higher self witness consciousness. I had already began to understand the power of this through what Mary Magdalene was showing me, but I really, really didn't understand how powerful it was. And for those of you who these words are new, let me define what this is. The higher self witness consciousness is a sacred presence that arises from our higher self, from our spirit, that we align with in the practice. And this part of us has the ability to hold whatever is arising, no matter how intense it may be or how much it's suffering. And in this powerful presencing, it also has the ability to hold love and compassion and share this love and compassion with whatever is arising. And as we go deeper and deeper into this relationship between the higher self witness and the contraction of trauma, ultimately what occurs is that the conduit of divinity and this huge amount of divine presence, divine love, divine care, divine healing arises and literally transforms this deep, intense pain. So for me, what was happening is that I continued to have all these levels of transformation going on, but because I was in this multi-day meditation experience, I kept on having these transformations, and then I would be brought deeper. Transformation, and then brought deeper, transformation, and then brought deeper. And I was literally going into the deepest realms of my shadow. And I felt like I was in the hell realms. It was so intense. And I was literally at the breaking point when I was about to give up, when I could go no further, that the deepest darkness literally transformed, turned inside out. And the brightest light I had ever seen in my entire life was shining before me. And this huge booming female voice that I later discovered was Sophia, Divine Mother, shouted, literally shouted, "I am here. I have been with you always. I have always been with you. You are safe. You are home." And with this, everything changed. My life literally changed because, in that sacred moment, I knew not just from my head, but from my very deepest level of knowing, I knew that the divine had never left me, that no matter what had happened, that she, he, it, the divine, whatever word you want to use to define that, way beyond pronouns, lives inside of me and lives inside of you. And I could feel, I could sense, I knew that the divine lives in every single one of us. This was not just for me. And because we're all connected to the divine, we literally are all one. It's not just a thought, it's a real lived reality. And as I've moved deeper and deeper into somatic awakening, and I've seen other people go into this experience in their own way, in their own lives, I realized that this is one of the gifts, one of the biggest gifts that somatic awakening offers in its core. That very often, in the very deepest places that we may fear or we may push away, that the divine is waiting to be remembered inside of us. And as we turn toward and transform the deepest densities within, we come into this living embodied gnosis, or what I call Clairgnosis, this experience of the divine living within us, not as a thought or as some construct or as some scripture, but as a lived experience where truth is not found outside of ourselves, but through the direct experience living within. And so this path of the embodiment of Christ-Sophia, it leads us into wholeness. So where we welcome every part of ourselves into the arms of love. And it brings us inner knowing with clear discernment so we can hear and honor our inner voice while also upholding our sacred boundaries. We have the ability to live our truth courageously compassionately, and rooted in soul integrity. And we also become sovereign, where we move beyond any need to rescue or be codependent, and we move into reciprocal, radiant co-creation with others and ourselves. So in this remembering, we live into this divine embodiment. And we realize more and more as we go deeper and deeper, the divine has never left. It's always here. Sometimes in our silence, sometimes in our daily life, we can feel and sense this love, this compassion, this presence that it offers all of us, even our humanity and all of its foibles and all of its negative voices and all of its inner contractions, right? It loves, especially our inner humanity. And we gain the ability to transmute the most difficult and densest contractions, emotions, energy of trauma inside of us. So that sorrow actually softens into peace, and where suffering steps into freedom. So this path is definitely not about perfection, believe you me. I wouldn't be able to teach it if it was about perfection. It's really about opening the door to divine presence. And in this process, we're asked to soften, to allow, not to strive or to push or control. There's so much of our brain, our left brain, has been taught, especially in the Western world, that if we're going to get anywhere, we have to push, we have to strive, we have to control. But actually in this path, we just allow. We allow. And there's so many different things that we learn, the principles of the practice and many other things, where we're actually taught how we can allow, how can we open our hands to allow this divine love to be. This path asks only this, that we allow this divine love into all of us, especially the parts that believe that we're not this love. Or I was just on a call with a patient and we were talking about this divine love, and she's like, well, you mean it can be for me too? Like, yeah, especially for you, because there was a part of her that believes that everyone else gets it, but not her. Maybe you have a similar part. I know I once did, but everyone else gets this love, but not me. Especially those parts of us need this love the most. And what we're asked to do is to open our hands and invite this love in so that it can acknowledge these parts of us that are still in pain, so that they can be seen, so they can be heard, and so they can finally receive the love and the care they need. And so as we do this healing naturally unfolds, and we begin to remember that our body, our being, is not separate from the sacred. It's where our growth and transformation arises. It becomes a daily experience into our daily lives, where we can feel and step into this space where we're living our truth and our budding awakening. And from this, more and more of this divine love comes in, and it becomes our steady guide, not just as some abstract concept out here or some hope or some, sense of faith that we're trying to grasp for. It actually is a lived experience that's grounded in our being and rooted in our lives. And as this happens, we realize that we don't find God out here. It's flowing in us. Again, often in the places that we overlook. And you remember the beloved isn't far away. The divine moves through you, flowing through you, lives as you, unified within your very being. It lives as the holy flame of the divine within the center of your being, within the center of your heart, your soul. The truth is that we are already this divine energy. We are already this Christ-Sophia energy embodied. We are just being asked to remember it, to become the rose in full bloom, and to step more fully into the Grail that is the chalice of divine union. I love these two metaphors and symbols and energy, the actually they're codes, the rose and the chalice. And so because we're going to be utilizing these energies today in the transmission that we're going to have in just a moment, I want to take some time and just unpack what I mean by the rose and the chalice. So the rose is representational of this divine, unconditional, eternal love that is always flowing. This love is constantly flowing to us from the divine, flowing through us, and is also holding us. As a matter of fact, I've been shown in several awakening experiences that in this reality, in this entire time-space continuum, and all of life inside of it, ultimately is connected to and arises from this divine love, right? This is not just some little love that we share with another person. This is creation. This is the ultimate energy of creation. This love that actually flows into creation. And so this rose is representational of this divine, eternal love of creation. And as we move this into us, we move into what I call embodied ascension or ascension. So this is where this love literally roots, this divine love literally roots into our being. So we know it, we feel it, we live it within our awareness, within the awareness of our divinity and within the awareness of our humanity. And it comes through this direct clairgnosis. Again, this is this experience of divine presence, of divine love. And as we experience it more and more, it literally can feel like the petals of the rose are unfurling more and more. But each petal is an aspect like forgiveness or self-love or compassion or peace or wisdom, right? And as more and more of this comes on board, we step into this living truth that this divine love is coming into us, flowing into us, is us in our day-to-day experience. So this energy of the rose, it means several different things because love means several different things. It is the power of compassion. It is the power of forgiveness. It is the power of wisdom. And my sense of it, I'm through the Magdalene activation, I've actually been receiving a very loud call I'm still sitting with. We're going to be talking a lot more about the rose and a lot more about the chalice. So that will come out later. But for right now, just know that there's a lot to it because the lineage of the rose is a sacred lineage of priestesses and priests that go back thousands of years. So it goes through the time of Avalon. It definitely goes through the time of the Holy Lands. Of course, Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary are absolutely connected to that. It goes through Atlantean times, times of Lemuria, and beyond. And as I mentioned a moment ago, I'll be teaching a lot more about this. So stay tuned. I'll be teaching a lot more about the chalice as well. So let's talk about what the chalice and the Grail is. So it's, in essence, it's a living archetype of divine union. So it represents the sacred fusion of the feminine, the masculine, the higher self and the ego, the light and the dark, which absolutely somatic awakening brings that on board. And ultimately, this union of the human and the divine, so that the divine comes into our humanity with absolute love, acceptance, permission, understanding, on and on and on and on and on it goes. So I want to show you something really quickly. This is a logo that, and I think some of you know this, just in case. Oh, here we go. Share. There we go. So this is the logo of Sophia Healing Academy. And it came into my life many years ago. I was doing a trade with an artist and I had no idea exactly what this meant, but I had a very, very, very strong message, multiple meditations that showed me this image. And so when the artist asked me, what do you want? I said, well, I want this. And so he created it for me, and it's actually a very, very beautiful painting. It's now above my bed. But this image is the image of the sacred chalice, the Grail within. And I want to talk just a moment about what this represents. And I will say that as I understood more and more about this advanced path of somatic awakening, I was literally shocked when I realized, oh my God, you had me create this logo and I didn't even know exactly what it meant, but now I do. So, so what it means, what I've come to realize is that in somatic awakening, naturally, the higher self is meeting the ego and the somatic contractions. The light is meeting the darkness within, the density within. And as this happens more and more, literally our inner polarities come on board. They come into this place of resonance, of harmonics. Sometimes the density, or I'll say when we're working with the density, it softens. But in many forms, it literally brings in this alchemical fire as these polarities come on board more and more. And I've absolutely experienced this in a very profound way, especially with the divine essence coming in and making this inner union contact with our humanity. And as this energy rises, more and more of this alchemical sacred flame is moved into our body or is activated into our body. And then the sacred grail or the chalice within us is holding this light, this energy. And as it builds more and more, it overflows into our body, making our being, our lives more magnetic on a manifestation level. It allows us to move in our life with more ease and grace. It allows us to move more in our life with this love and this divine union and this divine knowing, this embodiment, this clairgnosis, alive and active in our everyday lives. I'm going to go ahead and stop share. I just wanted to share that piece because it has just come on more and more in my awareness of how I've been led. Because I literally had no idea, zero idea that the Grail or this chalice that is the logo of somatic awakening, it has to do with the advanced path of somatic awakening that I hadn't at that point been shown. So it means so many things to me. And the other thing I just want to say about the Grail before we move from talking about the Grail solely is that Mary Magdalene, in many traditions, she is honored as the original Grail because in her womb, she bore the Christ lineage through the birth of their daughter, her and Yeshua's daughter, Sarah. There's a whole lineage and tradition behind that. You can find out more information about that online if you want to know more about that. And that would be a whole teaching in and of itself, but I'll just say that in the tradition, it says that she landed in France pregnant, and then a few months later gave birth to their child, Sarah. Also, because she was a holder of this embodied Christ-Sophia path, she is honored as the original Grail in many traditions. So when the rose and the Grail are united, a full path is revealed, where the rose opens us to this ever-flowing current of divine unconditional love, and the Grail receives this activated alchemical sacred fire as this unification happens within and overflows into our life, bringing more magnetic magnificence. And together, this path leads us into deeper initiations, deepening, ever ongoing initiations of living and embodying this Christ-Sophia path. So I want to share one more thing before we go into transmission. And that is, what do I mean by activate the Magdalene Codes? Because this is one of the things I talked about as I was sharing. This is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be activating the Magdalene Codes. And so the Magdalene Codes are many things. They are synonymous for this Magdalene frequency that I talked about before, this frequency that's literally lighting up so many people in today's world. I actually have been looking online at all the different things that are going on right now because we're in Magdalene's feast day. And it's incredible how many people are teaching about Magdalene or they're interested in Magdalene. There's so much that's happening because the Magdalene frequency is getting activated more and more as we remember, as we come into harmonic connection into this mystical Christ-Sophia path. So the Magdalene codes also are synonymous with this divine feminine Christ consciousness. And what I mean by that is that in the true essence, Christ consciousness is balanced. It is balanced in the masculine and feminine, it is balanced in the one. And actually, in the book that I'm writing, I have a section where I'm connecting into the Akashic records and asking about the history of Somatic awakening and mystical Christianity. And one of the things they said is that the term divine feminine Christ consciousness wouldn't even exist if Rome hadn't gotten involved. And the suppression of the divine feminine and the feminine in general didn't happen. And so when we say divine feminine Christ consciousness, what we're doing is that we're really just reclaiming what has been suppressed. It's been there all along. And so we're reclaiming that in this Christ-Sophia consciousness. So that is the last thing, or I shouldn't say the last, the next thing that these Magdalene codes are. They are the Christ-Sophia consciousness that is coming together, that is unifying within us. And they are living frequencies of divine love and awakened consciousness and divine embodiment. And they're not abstract concepts, but tangible transmissions of this current, the Magdalene frequency, the Christ-Sophia frequency. And they really help us to reawaken our own remembrance of our divine essence, to reawaken and to bring into full bloom the rose, to reactivate the chalice, the Grail, and to bring them into this harmonic so we can anchor this divine love, this presence, this unification down and into our holy bodies. So as we activate this energy within us, there is a path that unfolds. And in this path, there are many different ways that you can make contact with it. One of the ways, which we're getting ready to do, is through transmission in just a few moments. But also just want to say that one of the biggest ways that this path has come into my life is through intention and to surrender. Literally surrendering deeply into this divine Christ-Sophia energy. And in this process and my own surrender, this deep, powerful way, somatic awakening arose. And so somatic awakening, in the process of what it teaches us and how it brings healing and awakening and ultimately embodiment, it is for me and for many of you all, because I know you're many students who are here, it actually activates this divine embodiment, this living embodiment of this Christ-Sophia path. And there are many other ways that this can be brought in depending on your focus or your specific spirituality, your religion. Prayer, absolutely. Meditation, especially as we surrender more and more. Any somatic practice where we're really diving into our body. I know one of my favorite somatic practices besides somatic awakening is conscious dance, right? So Qigong or yoga, whatever feels right for you, where you can really drop down into your body. But one of the biggest ways that we're going to be activating it right now is through transmission. So let's go ahead and move into this holy transmission. So one of the things I want to do before we dive into transmission is just talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing. I don't know exactly what we're going to be doing. It always is interesting. They'll tell me a few things and then we go into transmission. It's usually a little bit different. But what I do know is that there's going to be a wisdom teaching by Mary Magdalene, and Yeshua is very strongly in the field, so he'll probably be there as well, or holding space with Magdalene, but he's definitely present. And also we're going to be going into an embodied ceremonial ritual where we drop deeper into these codes, especially with this mystical Christ symbols of the rose and the chalice and the Grail. And then we're going to be ending with the power of the word decree. For those of you who aren't familiar with what that is, it is a powerful decree where we call in, utilizing our holy higher self embodied within our awareness, and we call certain things in. And so I'll tell you all about that as we get there, or maybe they'll be leading that. Not quite sure how that's going to go, but I know we're going to be doing it. So if you have a candle with you today, I'm going to invite you to go ahead and light this candle. Take a moment to, first of all, actually, before you light it, just notice, are you thirsty? Do you need to be hydrated a little bit? If so, drink some water, because it's always good to be very hydrated when we are moving into transmission. It helps us to receive even more. If you have a candle, just go ahead and grab your candle, your lighter. Before you light it, take a moment to notice what is living inside of you, especially from hearing what you just heard. What is being called forth? Maybe you have a specific intention for your next steps. Maybe you want to bring in more unconditional love to your life. Maybe you're longing for the divine to meet some deep pain inside of you. Or you're wanting to take your next steps in activating the divine within so that your humanity can be held and unified with it. Whatever it is, take a moment to notice. And as that becomes clear, go ahead and take your lighter and just feel that intention in this flame, in the lighter and the matches that you have. As you're lighting the candle, just holding this intention. So we begin with a holy invocation. So we drop more fully into our bodies, into our holy bodies, acknowledging how holy we are. And right alongside the holy divinity that we are also human. We also have our difficulties, our foibles, our desires, our attachments, our negative voices. I invite you now to also notice the holiness, the divine, the love, the compassion, the care, the forgiveness, the allowing, the permission, the unconditional love that never dies. And it is within this union that we call upon the Christ-Sophia embodied path. We call upon you, beloved Mary Magdalene, in this holy day, in your feast day, a day that has taken so many centuries to allow, to open the doorways, to see with clear eyes who you truly are. Thank you for your love, for never giving up on humanity, for loving us even when others suppressed you, lied about you. We are so grateful for the Magdalene frequency that you are blessing this time, our time with. Thank you for teaching us what it means to receive this divine love. Thank you for teaching us what it means to allow our holy divinity to unify with our delicate and precious humanity. Thank you for showering us with your blessings, your gift, your teachings, your transmission today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our hearts are full of gratitude, oceans of gratitude overflowing. Thank you, thank you. And we open now to the greater Christ consciousness. We bow before Yeshua and your mastery and how you came and shifted humanity through your power, your love, your precious teachings. We acknowledge you for who you truly are, the unified consciousness that you showered this world with, this unending divine love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our hearts are full of gratitude, oceans of gratitude for your teachings, your love, your presence. And thank you for sharing with us today your wisdom, your transmission, your power, your glory, your love. And we now call in and upon the entire Christ field, the entire Christ family, unified, the law of love and the law of one, the golden diamond light. These laws are interwoven with, interweaving between all of us here live, between all of us here in the future, watching this recording, and now holding this entire consecrated space that is beyond time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We now open to this holy transmission, and I now offer myself as this conduit, unifying with the stream of alignment with truth, with teachings, with this ceremony today. And so it is. And so it is. Open this conduit in the space and time. Each time I speak, we will be in transmission. We are here with you today. We are Magdalene and Yeshua, opening and consecrating this entire field with this divine, unconditional, eternal, unending love that is offering a frequency to each individual here through time, through space. And we are offering this conduit to your higher self so that you may receive it in the most aligned way for you, with ease and grace, right in perfect alignment. So we invite you, beloved, as we begin this transmission, to simply open, allow, receive this love. For most of you, this love is a golden rose color with pearlescence. Some of you have different flavors and frequencies of this love, so notice what is true for you. Just allowing this love in, to hold you, to nurture you, to cradle you, and to allow this love into the places that most need it now. Allowing it into the entire shadow of your existence, the darkness, the density. Again, in right and perfect nuanced alignment, so that your shadow, your density, is no longer shunned. You no longer need to step over it or push it away or judge it or make it wrong. This love accepts it all, loves it all, is with it all. You may notice this light moving into a very specific frequency of a difficulty or trauma, contraction. If so, just let that be. Otherwise, just hold this frequency for another moment of this entire field of love meeting your entire field of shadow, light and dark coming together. Notice what it feels like to not push, to not judge. Your mind doesn't have to figure this out. All you have to do is allow. Allow this sacred coming together. And the most harmonic, ease-filled way for you in this moment. And from this place, notice there are many areas that easily are transforming. They're ready. They're ready to receive. Again, the mind doesn't need to understand it very well. Likely it won't understand. That's okay. Just allowing this love to do what it does. It loves. It welcomes back home. And as the density within gives permission of its own free will accord to say yes, please, and thank you, to allowing this love in, it naturally softens. It opens. It receives. Sometimes it falls asleep. Sometimes it moves into peace. Sometimes it has a lot to say. So just notice as this love is received. Just continue to soften, to allow, to notice what happens next as this love perhaps goes deeper. As your body begins to allow this love in, to soften into it, to receive deeper. taking another moment to receive this love in this format, this framing. Allowing the density within your shadow to drink deep. We are not shunning the darkness. We are transforming the density within the darkness so that your inner darkness can be free, can resonate with the darkness of the void. The darkness of creation, where life arises from. So take another few breaths here, receiving this specific frequency and vibration in this moment. And we now invite in this frequency of love that is the frequency of creation to move into your holy womb chakra that is located at the area of the womb if you are female, or where the womb would be if you are male. Including if you no longer have a womb as a female. It is the energy, frequency, chakra, holy womb chakra. And take a moment to feel, to sense this holy place within you. As you allow this love that is flowing into you to meet the love that is already here. The holy womb chakra is one of the primary locations of the soul. And within the soul, the divine flame of love is eternal. This divine flame of love is unified with creation. So as you feel this holy union, love, divine love flowing through you, meeting the divine love within you in the very center of your soul, notice the rose fully blossoms. The rose is a symbol of this divine love that never dies. The rose that is a symbol of all of the aspects of love. Is a symbol of embodied ascension, becoming, living this love, experiencing this love, knowing that this love has everything that you need, everything that you need to transform the deepest, darkest traumas, the most difficult aspects inside, to awaken you to who you truly are and the embodiment of your divinity. To remember to come back home and to soften in the isness, the very isness of this experience. An experience where you don't have to try. You don't have to be good enough. You don't have to strive. You merely need to say yes again and again and again and again and again. Yes, 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 please. Yes, I open to this love. Yes, I feel this love. I allow this love. I bring this love to the places that say I am not love. I bring this love to the places that say I will never heal this wound. I bring this love to the places inside of me that say I am not worthy of this love. And it is there with the holy union of light and dark sparks the flame of this sacred alchemical transmutation, transformation, and the flame that arises within your being of your divinity. Breathe deep, beloveds. Receive. Notice what is alive inside of you. Feel, sense, intuit what's you. Soften and relax and allow. As this holy light meets the holy darkness, the density within the darkness, and this flame is lit inside of you naturally, more and more and more. It's transformed. More light is lit inside of you. This holy union of light and dark, higher self and ego, masculine and feminine, yin and yang, within and without. And this magnetic, sacred, alchemical flame becomes a bonfire within your being. And the holy chalice, the Grail of your being holds this flame. We could say that the Grail is located in the heart or in the womb or somewhere else. But the truth is that your body, your living body, the choice that you made to come down into this frequency of free will, of taking on an ego, believing that you are separate, this courageous act that you have made by being human, that even though it looks difficult, it feels overwhelming, the truth, the secret is that this body, the very body that you live in, is holy, is a sacred chalice for the divine that you are, that's coming on in higher and higher frequencies as you say yes, as you say yes to transmuting this sense of separation, that you say yes to your worthiness, that you say yes to your soul's light, your soul's mission, the love that never dies. And this holy alchemical fire moves you into this higher and higher frequency of more and more embodied ascension, inscension, embodied divinity, sacred light, sparking flames within your life, and any who are next to you or in your family or community or who you work with, the grocery store checkout person, the bank teller. You become a living light of divine frequency for yourself and for others. This is the Grail. The Grail has been called many things, but the truth in the highest alchemy of this archetype is that it is the living body holding the frequencies of the divine as they begin to stir and grow higher and more, higher in frequency and more in vibration, overflowing, blessing your life, magnetizing what is already yours to you. So with this sacred alchemy of both the rose and the chalice, the Grail, let us go even deeper now into holding and activating these frequencies inside. So we invite you to place your hand, one hand on your heart and one hand on your womb, activating both of these parts of your holy body, as well as activating your entire body. We now call in the frequency first of the rose in full bloom, this unconditional love, taking this next step to receive even more, allowing, feeling, sensing your permission to receive this unconditional love. And in your own inner voice, or you can say out loud, we invite you to say, I choose to receive this love now. I know I am worthy of this love. This love is wanting to love me, and I allow this love to love me now. In every facet and aspect of my life, with ease and with grace, aligned to the highest vibration of my highest good. And take 3 full deep breaths in and out, receiving even more frequencies of this love that are here with you in this time, as well as they're moving out into your future timeline, allowing your higher self to place them on your future timeline so you'll easily walk into them with ease and grace. Knowing that not only do you get to receive this love, but you get to become this love. You get to be a vessel of self-love, self-compassion, self-forgiveness, and all of the bounty of this love that you are. Beloveds, you do not have to be perfect. You just have to receive this love. And so it is. Now, beloveds, we move to the sacred chalice of the Grail. feeling, sensing, intuiting, allowing yourself to notice, where are you at on this path of inner unification? Now we ask this with the caveat that you do not answer this question from a place of judgment. It is simply a question, allowing your truth to come forth. And at the level of inner unification, masculine, feminine, light and dark, higher self and ego, divine and human, whatever level that you are at, again, the mind does not need to figure this out. Whatever level you are at, we invite you to bring this forward, to feel it in your body, perhaps in your core or in your heart or in your holy womb chakra, allowing the sacred flame that has already been lit inside of you to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be honored. And we now allow and open this container even more, as you are invited to say out loud or internally, I now give permission to myself to know my inner divinity. I allow myself to know that I am good enough to step into this inner divinity. I now know that heaven lives within me as this divine flame in the center of my soul. I acknowledge this truth and I allow it to come forward without striving, but allowing, without pushing, but receiving in presence, in holy connection with my beautiful, fragile, magnificent, difficult, amazing humanity. The part of me that chose to have this courageous journey as a human is no longer alone. He or she is held in this highest divine light and can now relax into the arms of my divinity. A moment to feel this, to allow this. For many of you, it might feel like your human self relaxing, being held, being supported by your divine self. You no longer need to do this by yourself, or try to figure it out from your mind or your ego alone. You are unified, held in this sacred union, allowing this union to be a reality. And as this union is more of a reality, even in this moment, this now, feel, sense the sacred alchemical flame rise higher. This is your birthright. This is who you are. You are magnetic. You are whole. You are unified. And so it is. We now acknowledge the rose and the Grail together. Holy unconditional love, holy inner union. As within, so without. as above, so below. Opening the doors to this embodied ascension in the body, in love, eternally held and welcomed home. So with this, we invite in 3 more deep breaths in and out. Feel free to move your hands if you have kept them at your heart and womb, and just allow. We're going to be quiet for a moment as you go deeper into your own lived experience in this holy moment. Just notice what's here, allowing the mind to soften as you expand your awareness. You do more deep breaths in and out. So we to a place of the completion of this transmission. We open the field to the power of the word decree. So the power of the word decree is very similar to what we just did. However, before we begin this process, we invite in the higher self even more fully into the body, into our lived experience. And we allow our higher self to merge with the will within, with our own personal will. So the will is unified with our higher self, with our spirit. So what is happening at this moment is I'm feeling Mary Magdalene and Yeshua, they're moving their awareness out of my field a bit. We're still here. They're inviting in for my voice, Melissa's voice, to lead us in this power of the word decree. And so in this process, repeat after me. You can say in your internal voice or in your voice out loud, depending on where you're at. And if there's anything that doesn't feel aligned, there's no need to repeat it. But otherwise, repeat after me and let us begin. I now know from my divine I am consciousness that the rose of unconditional, divine, eternal love is continually blooming in my life. And I now choose to consciously receive this love. I now know that I continue to step deeper into my own inner union, light and dark, higher self and ego, masculine and feminine, divine and human. And I continue to nurture the alchemical flame of union within me. I nurture this flame of inner union to overflow from my sacred chalice, my holy grail, which brings forth innumerable blessings into my life and others. I now know that I am a living embodiment of Christ-Sophia energy. And I am remembering and living into this path and who I truly am. I now know that I am the holy ground where my divinity meets my humanity. That the divine lives within me. And I allow the parts of me that don't believe this or have a problem believing this to be seen, held, and transformed with ease and grace so that I may walk this truth. I now know that this remembrance lives inside of me. I embody love, union, and truth. And I serve from this overflowing grace within me. I now know this is so. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I bring this into my life with ease and grace, right and perfect timing, in alignment with my highest good. It is done, it is done, it is done. By the power of three, a holy Trinity, it is done. And so it is. I invite you to take 3 full deep breaths in and out. I'm going to officially close this transmission. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My heart is overflowing with gratitude for you, Magdalene, and for you, Yeshua, and what you have blessed this existence with. This knowing who we really are, this love that never dies, pointing this out to us, helping us remember the divinity within, the inner union within, and helping us learn how to walk this just as you also walked this path. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. And so it is. Amen. Again, I invite you to take some nice deep breaths in and out as we move toward the completion of our time together. And so I want to welcome you to just take a moment to really feel and to sense how you feel right now, how you feel perhaps different than how you felt before you came on this call. Perhaps there are questions or a share that you want to offer in a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and lay the groundwork that we're going to be staying on for just a little bit of time to answer questions, make comments, etc. But before we go there, and while you're thinking about if there's something you'd like to share, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for joining me during the 6 days of the Magdalene activation. It has been an incredible process for me as a teacher. to open this channel so wide. As I mentioned before, I feel so blessed, and actually, literally, I sense at this point, if everything goes as is scheduled, a new program is coming out on the Rose Grail teachings, a program, not just a little class, but a whole program. So I'm going to be sitting with that, meditating with that. I'm not 100% sure exactly what it's going to look like yet, but it feels like it's in the works. So again, thank you so much. And if you resonate with these teachings, I know a lot of you are already, you're either alumni or you've done a lot of classes, but there are some of you who are new here. I want to point you in the direction of Sophia Healing Academy website. And on this website, there's a lot of information about this path, rather. There's a lot of free teachings and other ways to get involved. And as a heartfelt thank you for joining me in the Magdalene activations, I'd like to offer you one of two gifts. So the first gift is a $50 discount for a 90-minute one-on-one session with me for many different things. As I mentioned before, I'm a naturopathic doctor, mind, body, spirit specialist. I'm an intuitive. I definitely offer a lot of somatic awakening sessions and many, many other things, such as transmissions and different things. I also work with a lot of healers to help mentor them regarding what's happening inside of them. So I'm going to take a moment to just put a link in the chat. So if you would like to find out more information about how to connect with me, working with me via one-on-one, you can do that. And all you need to do to get that $50 discount is just schedule a session, and then we can go from there. And this could be, if you're new, automatically you're invited to do a 90-minute session. If you're not new, 75-minute or 90-minute session, and this will be valid for either one of those. Or if you really want to find out more about somatic awakening, the best way to do that and to really dive into the embodiment of that is through a course called Embodied Healing and Freedom. And I'd like to offer that course to you for 50% off if you are new here. This is an introductory course that takes you deeper into the teachings, as well as powerful transmissions, experiential processes to anchor this into your life. And I'm going to give you information on how to access that. And if you access that, what you'll want to do is just sign up for the $333 called a silver plan whenever you go on the web page. And there is the discount code that is right below that. So make sure to use the discount code to receive that. And if you are watching the recording, then all of this information will be on the last screen at the very end of this video. So don't worry about that. You'll get all of that. And if you are watching this video later on, feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for supporting this work. Again, it has been an incredible honor holding this field, sharing these transmissions. I feel like my life has been upgraded just by sharing this. And this is one of the reasons why I love teaching and being an oracle on this level. So thank you for showing up here with me and for receiving what is in right alignment for you. So thank you again for coming. I'm seeing lots of people saying thank you. Love your teachings. Beautiful evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So much love and many blessings to you all. I look forward to seeing you again in whatever way most serves. That could be one-on-one session or through more events such as this, or maybe you'll take a course, whatever, however it is. Even if you just have a question, you want to contact me, I'm available. So thank you so much. Much love and many blessings, everyone. Until we meet again. Take care, everyone. Mwah. Bye.